Welcome to Crossfire Ministries Pantry Show. I'm Linda, and since it's fall, we have apples in our pantry, and I'm going to be showing you some recipes today that we're going to use apples. Our first recipe that we're going to make is Crockpot apple butter. Homemade apple butter is the very best. It doesn't have any of those preservatives in it, and it's very healthy for you. So our recipe today calls for 6 apples, 1½ cups of apple cider or apple juice, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. It calls for nutmeg, allspice, cloves, salt, and cinnamon. And we're going to cook it in our crock pot for 6 to 8 hours. Now that sounds like a long time, but it takes a long time for apple butter to get to the right consistency, so it's just nice and spreadable like a good jam. So, earlier today I chopped up most of the apples. I peeled them and chopped them. I'm going to show you how I chopped them up. I've peeled these already. Now I'm taking the core out. And you don't really have to do much to them. Just cut them. Cut them into some good sized pieces. And put them into your container. Now, to keep the apples from turning brown, I put them in a solution of lemon juice and cold water. If you don't have lemon juice, you can use ice water, and it'll keep your apples from turning brown. So the first thing we want to do is put our apples into the crock pot. Now I've drained off the water and the lemon juice, and I'm going to pour them into the crock pot. I washed my hands before I got started, so we're just going to use your hands to get all those good apples out there. Okay? So the next thing that we're going to do is add 1½ cups of apple juice. We didn't have any apple cider here in the pantry, so we're using apple juice. As you know, the things that we use in our recipes are what we have available in the pantry. So the next thing we're going to do is add 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. When you measure brown sugar, you want to make sure that you pack it down really tight into your cup. Take your spoon and press it down really good into your cup. It isn't like regular sugar where it's a loose cup. Just press it down really good. Just about ready. Okay, we're going to add that to our crock pot. Just kind of break it up there. The next thing that we're going to add is our salt. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Salt really brings out a lot of flavors in your fruits and vegetables and your meats. It's kind of like lemon juice. Then we're going to add cinnamon. And we want 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. So with our measuring cups, we're going to use 1/2 and 1/4 to make our 3/4. Next, we're going to do our ground cloves. That's 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. You want to make sure it's kind of a level teaspoon. Unless you really like the flavor of some of these spices, you could add a little more if you like your cloves or your allspice. Allspice is next, 1/4 teaspoon. But not least, ground nutmeg. And the nutmeg is 1/4 teaspoon also. Okay, now we're going to stir this up so that we get it all nice, all the apples nice and coated with the sugar and the spices. We're going to turn our crock pot up on high, and we're going to let it come to till it's nice and bubbly. Then we're going to turn it on low, and we're going to leave it for 6 to 8 hours. You want to make sure that you check it from time to time. Make sure it's the right consistency. If it's just a little bit too thin, then you can cook it a little longer. So, we'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. You can find the recipe for our apple butter and all of the recipes that we prepare here in the pantry kitchen downstairs in our linen rack. Okay, our apple butter is all finished now, our Crockpot apple butter. We let it cook for 8 hours in our crock pot, and oh, when we took that lid off, it did smell good. It wasn't quite as smooth as we wanted it to be. It was still kind of chunky, so we put it in the blender and blended it up so that it was the nice consistency like regular apple butter that you buy in the store. But it doesn't have all those preservatives. So Leslie and I are going to taste our apple butter. Oh, that is so good.
That is so good.
Oh,
oh
yum.
my goodness.
Now we've put some of our apple butter in one of these nice little jars, and we're going to give this as a gift. So now you know that when you use all the things that we have in the pantry, and especially the things that are kind of beat up, you know, our apples had a few bruises in them. For this apple butter, it was just perfect. So when you do that and you do things that are economical, you are on the winning team.